各位观众大家好，欢迎收看邓鸿说法节目，我是美国联邦律师邓鸿，让执法说法据理力争。昨天川普在白宫宴请了科技界的大佬除了 Bill Gates 这个 Mark Zuckerberg Facebook 的创办人，还有谷歌的创办人，还有这个苹果的总裁 Tim Cook 在这场宴会里边也是可以看得出高科技界原来一直是反川的然后并且是在科技方面的话想办法来这个批评川普，不过现在他们纷纷转向支持川普在这场宴会里边各个美国企业主管都是表示这个要将美国的高科技产业带回美国Tim Cook 的话表示，苹果将会有6000亿的投资在美国建立AI 中心。同样的，各个企业都是同样的表示会在扩大美国的产业供应链，还有这个保证美国在高科技方面的话占全球领先的地位当然川普为此非常高兴，而没想到谷歌在这个昨天我们也看过谷歌公司法院的裁决并没有打破谷歌并且要求这个并没有拆散谷歌在垄断官司这方面，他说在反托拉斯的这部分有违规，但是呢托拉斯这个谷歌要改革，所以还保住了谷歌。当然的话，没想到今天欧盟的委员会居然的话裁定谷歌在欧洲垄断这个市场，而以这个理由的话要罚这个345亿的高额罚款。当然针对这个部分里边的话川普今天在他的 True Social 平台里边这个开始替美国企业来站台了。他说欧洲今天对另外一家美国的巨头谷歌开出了35亿的美元的罚款，这笔钱本来是应该用在美国投资创造就业机会的，这个资金现在的话要变成落到欧盟的口袋上面。之前针对谷歌还有其他美国科技公司的罚款跟税收的话是累见不鲜，以后此举极不公平，美国纳税人绝不会坐视不管。就我之前所言的，本届政府我们川普政府绝不容忍这类歧视性的行为。以苹果公司为例，之前被迫交纳了170亿美元的罚款在这个罚款我看起来本来就不应该存在的，苹果应该拿回这笔钱。我们绝对不让这种现象腐蚀我们美国卓越非凡的创造能力针对此类事情继续发生这个我将会启动贸易法301条款撤销对这些美国企业施加不公平的处罚。所以你可以看得出，并且川普这个除了发了一个推文之后他里边的话他还接着说，他说这个除我刚才这个对谷歌的评论之外的话我特别声明，谷歌过去也曾支付130亿的这个赔偿，这个都是虚假的索赔指控，一共现在的话谷歌公司要付欧盟165亿的这个罚款，这个是实在太荒谬了，欧盟必须马上停止针对美国企业的这种行径。所以这个部分你可以看得出，川普针对欧盟的行动的话，他非常非常的恼火并且他的回应里边，川普说他会采取特别301的行动来对付欧盟。那特别301这个法规里边的话，它是就是说如果是这是1974年美国贸易法所通过的，就是允许总统发现的话，如果是美国的贸易伙伴对美国的企业采取了不合理伤害到美国商业行为的他可以采取贸易的制裁，可以利用关税还有配额的限制来对付这些贸易伙伴欧盟虽然跟美国达成了贸易协定，但是的话新一波的谷歌的惩罚有可能会导致这个重新谈判。从这部分可以看得出川普这个已经跟科技界以后站台要维护美国 科技界的利益，也是维护要确保高科技的资金留在美国创造就业机会。当然的话，今天呢也有很多人评论，并且的话川普也在记者会里边提过，他说在我这个开记者会前的几分钟这国防部已经跟我报告了，我们已经将委内瑞拉的一个贩毒船以后炸毁掉了针对这个部分里边，现在法律界有很大的争议，究竟川普有没有这个权利以后下令炸毁这些这个外国的这个船。当然这部分里边在美国本届这个本土之内法律是不允许这个尽管别人犯罪，你必须这个要有一个公平的审理程序。但是在国际公海方面你这艘船你怎么能够证实是一些贩毒的呢？法律界就开始质疑川普究竟有没有这个权利来这个攻击这些贩毒集团呢？当然呢这个Marco Rubio他就坚持说因为川普总统有权利针对这些将大批毒品带进美国的这些犯罪集团定为恐怖分子集团，有了恐怖分子集团的定义，川普总统的话完全有这个权利来对这些敌对的恐怖分子采取必要的行动，而不需要经过审理的程序就是我们的敌对的敌人了它里边争议性里边的话就是说这些贩毒集团就是恐怖分子，以后任何一艘船他们伤害到美国的人民，以后在这个时候的话，我们的国防部就有这个权利采取必要的行动当然的话这个部分究竟这个当然民主党小题大做，说川普是独裁，就是因为这个没有经过调查，他这个下令的话这个摧毁这个船，万一这些船的话是无辜的呢当然这个部分里边，这个之前从这个奥巴马这从克林顿开始到奥巴马总统，他同样的对这些贩毒集团卡跳的话都采取一些斩首行动这个斩首行动的话都是这个总统合法的权利。当然这个川普总统的话，他表示以前你们民主党总统所采取的行动，你们为什么不质疑呢？现在我采用同样的这个行动，你们就是小题大做。所以针对这个部分的话这个当然今天川普政府的话有采取另外一个行动，就是针对6个民主党的州，包括加州在内的话这个向非法移民提供健保。在联邦法里边，它这个 Medicaid 是下放给州政府的，联邦的法规川普上台的时候已经签署很严格的命令，就是政府的联邦补助健保的话是不能够给无证客的，但是在德州在加州这个 Colorado 州、伊利诺州、明尼苏达州、Oregon 州还有华盛顿州这6个州，他不查民众的身份他们理由就是我现在不动用联邦的经费，因为 Medicaid 在加州是 Medicaid 白卡，然后他们白卡的话，我们给这个无证移民，我们不动用联邦的经费，我们是动用我们自己州的经费，因为在健保里边的话，20%是来自联邦政府，80%是来自州政府，所以这种情况之下，加州这个是一个庇护州，它开放给所有无证移民都可以拿到低费或者免费的健保。针对这个部分里边的话，现在这个川普政府已经对州政府进行所有的查账，就是你说你不用动用联邦的经费，但是的话这个目前看起来的话加州有可能这个向大批的无证移民提供了医疗服务以后，向联邦政府来申请贷款补贴，这个补贴都高达5亿的资金，所以针对这个部分的话，现在联邦政府有可能对加州政府正式提告，要求偿还这个联邦的补助，以后由州政府自己来承担这个无证移民的这个医疗费用。当然针对这个部分里边的话，这个联邦政府的立场是非常严厉，他说联邦法里边规定我们是不允许向无证移民提供这个 医疗服务这部分除非是紧急救难否则的话这个我们会吸引更多的非法移民进入美国他们非法移民不在美国交税，我们不应该浪费纳税人的钱。当然的话这个今天 Politico 也引用了这名这个是移民公民这公民及移民服务局的CIS 的主席的这个局长 Joseph Aldo他今天的话在发表了评论，并且的话他里边提到的话就是将来入籍会变得更难。根据他已经在公开场合里面的演讲，他说现在的话这个申请 N400 因为是在美国拿到绿卡以后跟公民结婚拿到绿卡3年，或者是在美国透过其他方式亲属移民或者特殊人才拿到的绿卡有5年，符合申请美国公民。一般的话要做背景调查之外的话，他现在的话要英文考试会难度变得更加大了。现在的移民局考公民的话，他基本上从100道题里边的话，他抽选10道题出来，答对了6道题就可以了。以后他里面问的问题的话，就是说叫你说出2个联邦的假日，说出一个政府部门，说出了加州的州长是谁，或者是代表加州的众议员参议员是谁就够了。但是的话，他现在说我们这个远远不够，以后的话移民局将会调整申请公民的标准并且要求民众开始用英文写文章，陈述作为美国人对你人的意义是什么，你为什么要成为美国公民。以后这个部分的话，他一旦子的话就是要考你，不单是考你英文，还要更考你对美国的忠诚度。所以这个部分的话这个措施的话很有可能现在，并且他也表示除了考英文难度之后的话 CIS 这个服务局现在也开始转向执法局，然后昨天也提到他们已经准备要增聘200名这个移民执法人员，在 CIS 部门里边的话直接逮捕违法的这些申请人。所以针对这个部分里面的话，他会扩充能力并且对公民的申请，他们还有这个跟公民结婚申请绿卡，他们会进行邻里同事的访谈。然后这个部分的话，这个法律已经原来就有的，但是的话从老布希开始的话，他们就暂停，他们可以调查这个申请人的同事邻居，看看他们的话提交的资料是否熟识。另外一方面，对任何欺诈行为，他们会进行大规模的检查了。Hyundai这个是现代汽车是在美国设了2个汽车工厂，其中一个的话是在乔治亚州。乔治亚州是摇摆州，川普的话这个答应，因为很多产业都有就业机会外移。虽然韩国现代在乔治亚州设立了工厂，但是没想到了今天乔治亚州这个现代这个工厂，现代汽车的工厂受到了这个大规模的烧查，然后在5000名的员工之中，居然有1/10是身份有问题的。所以这次行动一共逮捕了475名的无证客，而这些无证客大部分都是南韩来的，他们用观光签证和偷渡的方式，然后到了乔治亚州。而在乔治亚州的时候，他们就是从事这个汽车电池生产。当然这个现代汽车就马上避开责任，他说这个是属于电池厂我生产电池的，不是我们现代汽车的一部分，是独立的工厂，跟我们没有关系。当然这个部分里边的话，他们现在就是这个之所以引致这个那么大的关注的话，就是你现代汽车制造厂虽然在美国设厂，但是的话你并没有雇佣当地的这个工人，而是从南韩那边的话招引了一大批无证客，所以你没有真正创造就业机会。针对这个部分的话，他也是希望能够进行杀鸡儆猴。川普也表示， 我们要在美国创造就业机会，而这些就业机会应该是给美国的公民、美国的民众。当然这个部分里边的话，这个也可以看得出这个现在有更多的民众的话是希望这个不单只要抓无证客，还要抓聘用无证客的雇主。华尔街日报有独家的报道，在4月份小肯内迪被任命为这个卫生部长的时候，他已经提到他要完成川普的承诺。川普在选举的时候已经答应过民众，我们美国小孩子越来越胖，我们民众越来越不健康。他里边经常引用的例子里边的话，就是20年以前我们2万人之中才有1个小孩子有自闭症，而现在呢，每32名8岁的小孩子之中就有1名是有自闭症。自闭症的问题是怎么发生呢？是疫苗发生呢，或者是要什么原因而造成的呢？然后在这个礼拜的记者会里边这个内阁会议的时候，上个礼拜，然后川普已经问小肯奈迪，你什么时候会答出给我这个答案？究竟自闭症是什么引致的？所以今天的话，这个很可能再过1-2个礼拜川普会亲自参加这个记者会来公布调查的结果。华尔街日报获得了独家，他说根据目前调查的初步报告显示出来，然后自闭症之所以增加，就是这个是基本上我们美国家人的话，在美国居民里面家家必备的泰诺止痛药。它里边讲过了哈，泰诺这个的使用跟自闭症很有可能的话有直接的关系。它里边的话，他说虽然这个泰诺很多都是在止痛方面的话是有一定的效果，但是的话，在泰诺它其中有一个成分的话就是叫做叶酸氨基酚。这个成分里边的话这个对婴胎儿的发育存在风险。然后在其他的研究的话还没有发现直接的，好像疫苗以后有没有直接关系，现在没有直接的关系。但是的话因为这个美国的妇产科医学院认为这个怀孕期的话，孕妇是可以安全使用的。然后但是的话从目前看起来的话这个因为这个组织是幕后的大药厂所赞助的，所以的话他现在认为从这个在2021年以后91位科学家认为的话泰诺里面的成分对婴儿存在了很大的风险。当然了，这个部分也可以看出很多人又是他有所以这个成分的话虽然还没有公布，但是就是因为这个《华尔街日报》的报道生产这个药的这个公司原来是 Johnson Johnson 分裂出来的叫做Canvia 这家公司的上市公司的股票价值一直跌了9个百分点。当然了，现在的话这个在这个之前的话也有这个400多宗官司，然后状告这个 Tylenol 可能导致自闭症。不过呢，在2023年这个法官裁定这个没有足够的科学证据这个证实 Tylenol 而导致自闭症的。不过呢说有可能因为小肯雷迪他可能在经费这方面指派更多的专家，可以这次的话有可能综合整理出来 Tylenol 有可能会跟自闭症有直接的关系。当然川普已经表示说 Baltimore 芝加哥你们不管理以后的话我就自己派国民兵了。加州派了44000多名的国民兵，加州洛杉矶治安川普说被我救回来了。DC 我动用了国民兵，然后你看看治安变好了。Baltimore 它是一个地狱，芝加哥是一个地狱，我将会派出国民兵来帮你们管理一下好。知道川普的这个消息可能要派兵来清理犯罪，所以的话今天呢马里兰的州长Westmore 他宣布就像加州州长一样的话，我们动用州警来帮忙地方政府来解决治安问题，不用劳驾你川普，不用劳驾你国民兵来帮忙了。所以这部分的话，也是在因为川普的威胁之下，加州也是州警也开始增援地方警察局，然后现在马里兰州有效仿加州州长纽森的做法。当然的话，这个另外一个新闻是这个反反复复以后今天在旧金山里边的话，这名华裔的法官叫 Chen， 也是这个奥巴马所任命的联邦法官对川普这个做出的移民政策做出了一个限制在这个之前里边的话，尤其是 J.D. Vance 他说美国大批无证移民涌进美国，海地来的，委内瑞拉来的，然后这些无证移民到这个 Springfield这以后这个还有到各地都造成治安的问题。那当然民主党说他们不是无证移民，他们是合法的，然后在批评万斯，批评川普，说你是种族歧视。而他们这些人士都是拜登政府放进来的，他之所以合法，就是因为拜登政府透过一个特别的总统行政命令以后由国土安全部的部长Mayorkas所签署的，这叫 TPS Temporary Protection Status 临时保护令，也就是说给他临时身份。临时身份的话，有效期往往是2年。Christian Norm 上任之后，他马上终止了 TPS 计划。他说我有权利来终止，然后这个部分没有经过国会的这个你是一个行政部门的主管，所以针对这个部分 Chen 的话说，国土安全部虽然换人做了，但是的话你没有按照程序来通知，按照一般的程序的话，你必须要给90天的通知，以后才能够生效。所以他以这个理由说 TBS 的话这个你 Christian Norm 国土安全部没有这个权利，没有经过合理的程序来取消掉。不过呢说这个案子最高法院在当时要申请一个临时禁制令的时候，最高法院已经下令，他说这个总统的这个行政部门的部长国土安全部，他用行政的方法来颁布，给了这些无证移民合法的身份，居留身份。但是的话，同样的，现在民众已经反对，选出了新的总统，新的国土安全部，那你就按照新的程序来做，没问题。当然的话，这个陈法官是极左派的法官，他虽然这个给了这些非法移民无证客有可能是2-3个月的缓冲期，暂时不能够生效，但是的话，同样的这个案子有可能会重新回到最高法院，最高法院的话会裁定你这个地方法院呢为什么不看到我们的以前的裁决呢？我们的以前裁决的话是这个总统还有他们的部长是有权利取消以前总统以前部长所颁布的行政命令。所以他这样相信的话， TBS 委内瑞拉还有这些难民海地的难民的话，他们的身份估计很快最多也是拖延2-3个月而已。Norwalk 城市跟 Rosemead 城市一样，当时的话这个 Rosemead 城市要在一个教会的里边建造游民中心，以后上千名华人出来反对。其中的话这个市政府市政经理市政律师都说，如果我们禁止游民中心在市里边的话来这开发，那我们一定会被告，一定会输。所以后来我们做了一个侧重办法，我们就限制从400多个床位的游民中心变成15个床位的，这样子的话并没有违反州法。而没想到 Norwalk 城市它通过了市政府不允许室内建造游民中心，这个案件后来加州的这个检察长状告 Norwalk 市政府不得不同意， 然后要取消这个通过禁止游民的这个法规，并且的话也同意支付25万的赔偿，来提供自己要市政府出资来建造游民中心，解决游民的问题。所以这样的比起来，我们 Rosemead 的城市市长、市议员还有市政经理做出了一个很明智的决定，没有没有被罚同样的能够管制的游民中心。当然了哈，今天这个州议会正在开会并且再过2个礼拜他们就要投票。而目前在这个200多宗这个法规里边的话，有10项法规可以说是最糟糕的法规，然后有可能会在2个星期之内投票，所以呼吁所有的民众反对这些的话法案的话，向州议员、州的参议员 Senator 或者是 Assemblyman 的话打电话反对这些提案。这里边的提案里边我逐一跟大家解读。第一个的话，法案的话是 AB 495。这项法案的话，就是担心无证客被带走了，小孩子没有人管，所以的话，他说任何一个人士，他只要签一个声明，我愿意做这小孩子的监护人，他就可以将小孩子带走。这个的话，允许陌生人带走儿童法案，绝对是让儿童贩卖集团的话有了一个犯罪的依据，而不用犯罪，不会被抓。这个也鼓励了，所以这个部分的话，绝对是一个恶法。然后第二个 AB 84，这个是终止特许学校的法案。这样法案里边的话，加州基本上像加州州长纽森他自己有钱，可以将自己的小孩子送进私立学校。普通老百姓的话这个只能用公立学校。而在15年前，加州通过立法允许这个私立学校跟政府获取的经费，这个变成了特许学校，在课程安排这方面的话是比较灵活的，但是也可以得到每个学生人头多少钱。公立学校每一年补助5000块钱，那特许学校也同样的可以拿到5000块钱的补贴。所以在这部分的话这公立学校因为它是工会，比较死板，成本比较高，这种情形，特许学校 charter school 变成了一个越来越多的家长将小孩子送到了这个特许学校。而特许学校的话，现在目前有20%的学生是从公立学校转到特许学校，已经对独门的生意的这个教师工会造成很多的威胁。因为特许学校没有工会，也有很多家长将小孩子送了工会。这种情况呢，学生减少了，老师也不用那么多了。这种情况之下的话，威胁到了工会的利益，所以他推出一个的话，就是停止向特许学校提供加州教育经费的这个法规。这法规的话，一旦是取消掉，那特许学校没有经费，也不得不要关门。这样子的话，它可以保住公立学校工会的利益。第3项法案的话是 AB 1037法案。这项里面的话，现在的法律规定，你要戒毒的话，要得到政府的资料，必须先戒毒，然后的话戒毒了以后的话，并且的话你不能够拥有、持有、使用吸毒的工具。而这项法案里边的话，他说这个去戒毒所以后不必要一定要戒毒。然后的话，并且的话，你持有这些这个毒品的工具，吸大麻了，还有或者是这个使用打针管的这些东西，你持有这些东西的话不算违法，让吸毒这个合法化，并且的话鼓励民众吸毒。所以这个部分里边的话是 AB 1037 AB 这个695，有一些无证移民被驱逐了，然后没有办法上学了，回到墨西哥去了，回到拉丁美洲去了。那没关系，我们加州政府同样可以透过远程给他们提供服务，让他们完成学业。 这项法案里边的话，就是说你就被拒绝了，你同样的话，这些无证移民可以免费享受我们的公共学校的教育资源。我们本州的居民，我们要付学费，我们要付所有的开支，要纳税。但是的话，如果你是无证移民的话，你就算被驱逐了，你还可以继续来完成学业。这项法案的话，无形之中的话，就是将无证移民以后，你只要来到美国开始上学，你就被驱逐的话，我们加州政府还要继续帮你念完书。这个第5项的话叫 SB 437。这项法案里边的话，要补偿黑奴这个要多少钱呢？然后他现在拨款500万，在州立大学里边设立一个研究基金。这个研究所里边的话，研究怎么样子来分配，来开始启动补偿黑奴这个计划。旧金山做了一个统计，他说黑奴的话，这个我们应该每一位黑奴的后代都补助他30多万。但是后来一算以后，基本上的话，旧金山他3年的预算都不够赔，所以他取消掉了。不过现在的话，同样的，为了这个极左派的人士，让我们纳税人叫钱花掉，他们提出了这个 SB 437，就是要做研究，怎么样子。究竟多少钱？怎么样来分配？来做好研究，为将来这个征收税金来补偿黑奴的话做好准备。第6项提案里边的话是 AB 57。我们现在加州政府相不相信，为了补助低收入人士购买屋，可以像抽 lottery 奖一样的话这个免费向民众提供无息贷款。如果你真的还不了钱，州政府一起帮你付房贷。所以这一部分的话，它每一年都有上万人的经费留给低收入人士，不查你的移民身份，所以很多非法移民也可以拿到了政府的补助，以后政府帮你付了头款，以后的话这个你付不出来，你可以申请豁免，贷款都不用还。当然的话，这样好的事情这个总是要进行逐一分配嘛。他说黑奴这个长期受到我们美国政府的不公平对待，所以的话有10%的经费要留下来帮助黑奴的后代，所以按照皮肤来开始发放资金。我们川普政府已经全大规模在开始取消 DEI 了，不允许种族歧视了。但是我们加州的话，同样的话，一定要预留10%免费的贷款的话给黑奴后代。皮肤是黑的，他就是可以说的话是黑奴的后代。第7项提案 SB 627，这项法案的话 doxing 是什么这个现在很多网站为了对抗移民局然后他说这个移民局的人他就公布这个移民局探员警察他们的照片地址。为了这个部分，国土安全部他允许执法人员盖住脸，不要为了自己家人的安全。没想到的话，加州立法他说67这个 SB 67的话你不允许执法人员，包括警察，包括联邦执法人员，当然包括移民局在里边呢，不允许他们这个将脸戴口罩，将脸盖起来。然后的话，你公布警察的资料并不违法，鼓励大家来 doxing 来泄露警察的资料。我们现在大趋势就是要 law and order 这项法案的话，就是跟你保守派的，跟你川普唱反调。你联邦政府允许执法人员，允许移民局蒙脸，我就偏偏说，如果你在这边的话蒙脸，你就违反了加州的刑法。第8项，地方政府要建造 这个游民中心要建造住宅地区，每一个地区他们都有 zoning， 这个区是单一住宅或者是多个单元的住宅， R1、R3 都很有严格的规定。 Commercial 地区不允许住宅也是一样的。地方政府为了保证社区的这个安全、生活的品质，所以他们对这个地域的规划使用拥有很大的自主权。没想到这项法案的话，就是说在地铁站、公共枢纽的地方、公交站、巴士站、火车站这些地方的话，不能够限制高密度的 apartment 住宅。地方政府不能够管，由我们州政府来管就可以了，将我们的地方政府的权利剥夺了。那这个 SB 301法案的话，这个叫做 pension 这个 pension 退休金，我们政府养了很多公务员，而这些公务员收入比我们普通老百姓，比乡人的话做生意的，在私人企业里面做事的纳税人的话好多了，政府给那么多的福利，所以的话连民主党的州长 Jerry Brown 他觉得的话太过分了，然后这个福利太好了，退休金太好了，所以那时候在15年前在Jerry Brown 还做州长的时候，是他这个民主党的州长，他说那以后的退休金计划，从新雇来的员工的话，以前的话终身的退休金，你退休前领多少钱，你退休之后就可以领多少钱。这个做法的话，就是在15年以前已经取消掉，然后你新进来的话，就按照市场的这个退休金，而不是这个长期一个铁饭碗的这种做法。没想到的话，工会力量非常大。现在州政府的职员的话，他说 Jerry Brown 只是区别对待，老的员工他可以得到全部的这个薪水全部的退休金，然后对新进来的员工不公平，这种的话是不公平的。所以这项法案的话，就是要取消对新员工的限制，然后所有的这个政府官员，我们的公仆他们将会获得了铁饭碗、金饭碗，然后他们可以跟老员工一样享受这个丰厚的退休金。AB 361法案，这个法案的话，我们做生意人都知道，我们要招标，当然是价格很重要。如果同样的产品别人比较便宜的话，那当然的话我们是要挑便宜的嘛，做任何工程也是这样子。这项法案里边的话，就是说如果是公众学校，我们公共设施要建造的话，这个投资金超过100万以上，那就不能够纯粹以价格来招标，然后要做2部分。第一部分里边的话，你必须要在90天之内最低的价格这部分的话公开，让我们工会来标，看我们有没有办法能够以同样的价格拿到这个项目。第二个，就算拿不过，你还是要给工会的投标者优先权，尽管它价格比别人便宜了，因为工会操纵了加州运作，工会支持了民主党，工会让民主党一党独大，所以这些法案里边的话都是利益输送，你支持我，那我给你保证学校的合同，然后我的给你，就等于不需要招标了，以后你只要是工会，你就可以拿到合同。公不公平？不公平。但是谁来买单？都是我们这些纳税人买单。所以这些法案的话，你看到，你说这些根本不符合常理。It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make business sense. It doesn't make common sense. 所以为什么我们这些民众一定要将民主党一党独大的这些人换下来？只有笨蛋，只有傻瓜才会投这些票，会支持 所以的话我们一定要发出声音，很重要。那当然的话，今天的话有点时间，我想的话跟大家一起来收看这个川普的这次这个1个小时的这个1个小时的一个记者会，它是在白宫办公室进行的，所以我想的话这个我看一下子，换一下子呢出来。看一下子的话有没有办法能够跟大家一起来看看川普的这个记者会。当然的话这个我看一下子能够放到这边来。这也是川普今天下午的时候在白宫办公室椭圆形办公室开的记者会我还来不及看，所以我跟大家一起来听听他在这个记者会里边所谈的内容。
Thank you very much. We'll start by signing 3 very important bills, and Will, would you discuss them, please?
Yes, sir. This is H.R. 2808. This is the Homebuyers Privacy Protection Act. The congressman here was the lead sponsor, so I think maybe he
John Rose, yes.
Say more about it than I
John,
can.
please.
Well, it's difficult for Americans to buy a home, particularly after the last 4 years, sir. But with the president's signature today, we're going to make it easy for people to buy a home without getting hassled. For years, their private personal information has been bought and sold in the open market, resulting in them getting innumerable phone calls and text messages. But with your signature today, we're going to put an end to that so that when Americans try to realize the American dream of owning a home, they're able to do so without being harassed.
Good job. Good. It's a great
这个法案里边的话，国会已经参众两院已经通过了，以后这也是这个保证我们出买购屋的时候他的这些资料个人资料的隐私，我们经常会看到很多短信呢你的房子要不要这个我知道你买了房子，但是你要不要这个装太阳能板短信也好电话也好的话，这些资料都是被买卖，而导致我们的个人资料的话都收到很多骚扰的电话。这项法案的话就禁止这个政府部门将我们的个人资料透露出去，也禁止这些这个marketing 公司不要老是来电话来骚扰我们普通民众购买屋人士。所以这个法案的话川普签字之后就会马上生效。
honor, John. Okay, there it is. And that's going to help a lot of the homeowners of our great country. John, want to hold that?
Sure.
Thank you, John, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Will, you go ahead.
And I want to leave you with this gift from a constituent back in Tennessee.
Oh, I could use that at night.
It's an American flag.
That's very nice. I like that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. That's
当然这个田纳西的民众的话给了川普好像是睡袍，不过后来的时候 Will 说他是国旗，川普说我可以晚上睡觉都用，当然了川普不可能会包着国旗来睡觉吧。
very nice.
Next, we have a number of executive orders for your attention, sir.
Okay.
From 1789 until 1947, our nation won some of its greatest military victories under the direction of a Secretary of War operating within a Department of War. Today, with this executive order, you will authorize the current Secretary of Defense and the current Department of Defense to once again embrace this great lineage and once again be named the Secretary of War and the Department of War.
So this is something we thought long and hard about. We've been talking about it for months, Pete and I, and Dan. Dan came into the fold. By the way, a great general. He headed up I wouldn't call it an attack. I'd almost call that one maybe even more than an attack. What he did with Iran, you saw the success of that operation. It was perfect. In fact, we have This was sent to me by the great company that makes that particular B-2 bomber. And it was flawless. It was actually flawless. They flew for 37 hours back and forth. And there wasn't a bolt that was out of condition. There wasn't an engine failure. There was no problem. It was a perfect attack, and it knocked out any possible nuclear capability for Iran, which nobody wanted to see, and we weren't going to put up with. So great job, Dan. And we've been talking about this Department of War. So we won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to go woke, and we changed the name to Department of Defense. So we're going Department of War. And I'd like to ask our Secretary of War to say a few words. Pete Hegseth. I think it's a much more appropriate name, especially in light of where the world is right now. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest manufacturers of equipment by far. There's nobody to even compete. And you see that with this and so many other things. The Patriots are the best. Every element of the military, we make the best by far. So, Pete, I'd like to ask you and maybe Dan Raisin-Cane to say a few words, please.
Mr. President, thank you. After winning a war for independence in 1789, George Washington established the War Department, and Henry Knox was his first Secretary of War. And this country won every major war after that, to include World War I and World War II. Total victory, Mr. President, as you said. Then 150 years after that, we changed the name after World War II from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in 1947. And as you pointed out, Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since, and that's not to disparage our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War, or the Vietnam War, or our generation of Iraq and Afghanistan. That's to recognize that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring. Words matter. It's restoring, as you've guided us to, Mr. President, restoring the warrior ethos, restoring victory and clarity as an end state, restoring intentionality to the use of force. So at your direction, Mr. President, the War Department is going to fight decisively, not endless conflicts. It's going to fight to win, not to lose. We're going to go on offense, not just on defense. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct. We're going to raise up warriors, not just defenders. So this War Department, Mr. President, just like America, is back. Thank you for your leadership and your clarity. We're going to set the tone for this country. America first, peace through strength, brought to you by the War Department. We're back.
All right, thank you very much. Very well stated and really.
这个Pete Hegseth 的话讲了一下之后，有点好像迷信一样做法。他说1947年我们的美国历史从在 Department of War 的名字下的战争部的话，不管是所有的战争，我们美国都赢了。但是的话，1947年以后变成这个国防部，这个是防卫性而已。以后从韩战到越战，我们都不顺利，好像没有赢过。所以现在要改回这部分的话，有一点像迷信一样说改为 Department of War 的话，我们一方面要重振士气，以后我们不在 Defense 的话就是防御性的，而 War 的话是攻击性的，所以我们培养的战士不单只是个 Defender， 不单只是捍卫时事，我们还要有攻击性，我们是个 Warrior， 是个斗士。所以这个是其中Pete Hegseth 的解读，他现在的话也是变成了这个战争部的部长。
It has to do with winning. We should have won every war. We could have won every war, but we really chose to be very politically correct or wokey, and we just fight forever. And then we'd, win. We wouldn't lose really. We just fight to sort of tie. We never wanted to win wars that every one of them we would have won easily with just a couple of little changes or a couple of little edicts. I was told that ISIS would take 5 years to win. And Dan Kane, when I told him how long would it take, he said, I think about 4 weeks, sir. I said, what do you mean 4 weeks? I was told 5 years by the people in Washington. You know who they were? 5 years. I said, you can't do it in 4 weeks. I actually flew to Iraq to meet with him, and I met him at a big air base. And remember that famous day, right? It turned out to be a famous day for our country because you're now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is the biggest deal. And he is, because he did things that everybody said he couldn't do. So they said it was going to be 5 years, and he knocked them out in about 4 weeks total, 100%. We took over, and ISIS was gone, and pretty amazing. But we never fought to win, and now if we have to fight it all, we solved 7 wars. We have the one that I thought was going to be probably one of the easier ones, and that's with President Putin and Ukraine. And that turned out to be one that's a little bit more difficult, but the 7 are done. They were supposed to be much more difficult to solve. I solved every one of them, and we're going to get the other one done too. But it turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. And it'll get done, or they'll be held to pay. But because they're losing 6 to 7, it used to be 5. I used to tell you 5. Now it's almost 7. I guess 7,000 people last week. 7,813 people, young soldiers, died. Russian and Ukrainian, not American soldiers. But it's a shame. And it's just, they're human lives, and I want to see it stop. But General Kane's done a fantastic job. And again, defeated ISIS, which they said would take a long time. And it didn't take a long time at all, and did other things that people said really couldn't happen. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest soldiers in the world. Dan, say a few words, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a true honor for me today to represent the incredible men and women of America's joint force. Today and every day, the 2.8 million service men and women stand ready to fulfill our sacred duty to protect America at home and abroad. As the president said, America's military is the single most powerful fighting force in the world. The mission you and the secretary have given us is clear and unambiguous: to deliver peace through overwhelming strength. And I remind everyone that the U.S. military can reach any adversary at the time and place of our choosing. Service to this nation is an incredible gift, and we're grateful and honored every day to do so. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to sign this. And we will do that right now.
那当然的话 ，Dan Ken 当时在波斯湾的时候，他只是一个中级的将领。川普
I think that's a big one. I'll be honest.
川普的话，他自己这个不顾所有的军方这个压力，将 Dan Ken 的话提名担任这个联席会的主席，就是所有的这个军队的总指挥所以这个他是一个军人的职位。然后Secretary 这个现在的话战争部的部长是文职，是总统任命的。所以这部分川普的话也讲到了他为什么提 Dan Ken 的事情，他就是出手很狠的所以本来要5年才能够解决的 ISIS 这个恐怖分子，他4个星期就解决了。所以川普对他这种出手够狠的这个担任联席会的主席，他是绝对有这个信心，并且他这个对这次这个大伊朗也是 Dan Ken 这个指挥，他是非常满意的。
That's a big one.
It's a big one, Mr. President.
Do you have any questions on this subject? We're going to be discussing the G20 in a couple of minutes, but yes, please.
Mr. President, what gave you the idea for this rebrand? A question for you, the newly minted Secretary of War. What message does this send to our enemies, to our allies, to the American people? And again, what gave you the idea for this rebrand at this moment in history, sir?
I think it sends a message of victory. I think it sends really a message of strength. We're very strong. We're much stronger than anyone would really understand. And again, having the great equipment, we have just so much better. You look at all of the, just any of it, submarines as an example. We're 20 years ahead of anyone else. Nobody even compares. And I let a lot of this happen in my first term. We totally rebuilt our military. And then, of course, you had that catastrophe in Afghanistan, where they gave up a lot of the equipment, but a relatively small amount, but a lot. It was a lot in Afghanistan. I think it was the most General, I'd say it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, the way that happened, the way they went to the wrong airport. They should have gone to Bagram, not the local little airport with no security, with tight quarters, etc. You know what happened. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, frankly. That was under the Biden administration. It was terrible. And we were going to be leaving, but we were leaving with strength and dignity. We were going to keep Bagram, because Bagram's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We're going to have that all to ourselves, a big, beautiful place built many years ago from money that today would be the equivalent of, many, many billions of dollars. You couldn't build it. The longest runways, the most powerful runways in terms of load capacity. And we just walked away from it. So stupid. And they were fools. The people were fools. No, we have the strongest military, and I think that indicates we have the strongest military. And, we had it, and we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything before, and as I said, we won everything in between. And we were very strong, but we never fought to win. We just didn't fight to win. We didn't lose anything, but we didn't fight to win. We could have won every one of those wars quickly, but they went a route that I think was probably politically correct, but not correct for our nation. So I think the Department of War sends a signal. Yeah, please.
当然的话，这个记者里面我有可能是就是相对来说，因为93大阅兵，中国进行了大规模的展示他的武器。不过川普在里边呢提到的话，他说比起任何的对手来说，我们的武器比他们这个强20年。这个20年的话，这个是他们根本我们的对手根本不是我们美国的对手所以在武器方面的话，当然的话不管是世界各地现在的还是以美国的武器来采购作为一个安全的措施。当然 NATO 的话，它现在原来是2%的预算作为国防的，现在的话增加了5%，这也是川普上台的6个月之内迫使 NATO 做的这个承诺。
alluded to this a little while ago, but you said that this rename is a quote, a good reflection of where the world is at right now. How do you square naming it the Department of War when you've been pursuing peace in so many different parts of the world?
Well, I think I've gotten peace because of the fact that we're strong. If we weren't strong, those 7 deals I told you about, the 7 wars, a majority of them wouldn't have happened. They happened for 2 reasons, trade and our strength. Those are the 2 reasons. And probably strength may be more important than trade. So if I was very proud of all those wars. Those were wars that could not be settled, and I settled all of them. And we'll get the other one settled also. That'll get settled. But without the strength, we wouldn't have settled any of them. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, is it your expectation that Congress will codify this name change in the law?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. But I'm not sure they have to. We're signing an executive order today, but we're going to find out. We're going to see. If they do, we're going with it, and we're going with it very strongly. There's a question as to whether or not they have to, but we'll put it before Congress.
Do you know how much this rebrand will actually cost? And are there any concerns about, the Pentagon's mission of actually cutting back on spending?
But not a lot. We know how to rebrand without having to go crazy. We don't have to recarve a mountain or anything. We're going to be doing it not in the most expensive. We're going to start changing the stationery as it comes due and lots of things like that. We're not going to be doing things like have been done in the past when they changed the name of forts that shouldn't have been changed. Those names of the forts should not have been changed, at least for the most part. And as you know, many of them have been changed back already. At the request of the communities, every one of those communities said, we want our name back, like Fort Bragg as an example. The people in that community wanted that name back. They refused to call it anything else but Fort Bragg. So we're not going to be spending very much money on that. Yes, please.
When you spoke with the Europeans and Zelensky earlier this week, did you create?
当然，他现在记者在问的话，这个有没有必要通过国会立法来改的？当然的话，这个今天我也看了很多新闻，他说都有不同样的解读。因为1947年国会是通过法律然后立法，然后从这个战争部改名为国防部当然的话，现在要重新这种情形，川普说我也不知道。不过的说，法律界里边也有不同样的解读，说川普将这个墨西哥湾改名为美 美国湾这部分的话，他也是透过总统行政命令的。当然他说如果是国会要迎合这部分，他也会配合不过他说我现在呢是用行政命令的方法来开始改当然你可以看得出川普的话这个先做再来考虑法律这方面的。以后有关于这个费用这部分，他也说这个很多人反对他改名的话，就是因为这个我们的很多东西都要改的。川普的改的话，因为在拜登时代的话，很多这种他翻译这个堡垒是不对的，是一个 fort 这基地军事基地里边都说 fort F-O-R-T 这个部分这个他说改了不同样的名字，因为有很多将军是在这个是可能是南北战争时候这些General Lee 还有这些的话，他们都是改过来，但是他说社区那时候他是浪费钱，而这次的话要将名字从国防部改为战争部，就是要展现士气，这个也是重新品牌的一个调整所以他觉得的话，这个开支是值得的。
Do this for them, and did you say what security guarantees they might be involved in?
This has nothing to do with anybody but the United States of America, the people of America. This is who I talk to about changing a name. This is a very important change because it's an attitude, and we know how to win. We've been winning, and we're going to win like you've never seen. Wait till these factories start to open up that are being built all over the country. You're going to see things happen in this country that nobody expects. We have over $17 trillion in investment coming into the country. We never did anything even remotely close to that. No other country has either, by the way. So you're going to see things that are pretty amazing, but it's really about winning.
And what about the security guarantees aspect of that with Ukraine, sir?
Well, we'll work that out. We'll help them. Look, we want to save a lot of lives, so we'll do something with that. I think people expect that. We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first, and they want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end, and it'll end. It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together. You watch. Yeah. Did you want something right? Yeah, behind you, please. Yes.
Yes, sir. You guys have been shy about taking bold, decisive, offensive action to protect American values. Strikes in Iran, strikes this past Tuesday, and the positively IP'd trend to Iraq with narco terrorists. Is that going to be a critical function of the Department of War?
It depends on the individual instance. We don't want drugs coming in from Venezuela or anybody else or any place else, so we'll be tough on that. And we don't want human trafficking. We don't want to see people coming in where they open their prisons from all over the world and they dump their prisoners into our country, which is what they did in the Biden administration, where they took insane asylums and places that held people that were seriously mentally ill, mentally incompetent, mentally dangerous, and they dumped those people into our country, and we're trying to get them out now. What they've done, what the Democrats and Biden have done to this country will go down in infamy, what they have done to our country, and especially that. They created the worst inflation we've ever had. That's nothing compared to what they did with the people in our country right now. And we're getting them out. And it's not easy when you have the liberal judges destroying our country. But we've won them all. We've won it all, ultimately won it all. Hard process. It should be easier. We know who it is. We know exactly who we're looking for. We had 11,000 murderers dropped into our country. We've gotten a lot of them out. Or in some cases, they're so dangerous, we're afraid to get them out because they'd come back in. But for the last 120 days, 0 people came in. Can you imagine? This is me speaking, but these are figures developed by, they say, a pretty liberal group of people. They admit that 0 people came into our country. Think of that. A year ago, it was millions of people were coming in, millions. They were coming in. You could look at them and you could say, big trouble. And that's what we have in our country. But we're getting them out. And despite that, we're doing really well. Yeah, please, Brian.
Comment on recruitment levels across the middle.
Yeah. Well, the recruitment's the most exciting thing. So when I was campaigning for the office, numbers were coming out that the recruitment numbers, generally, you could speak to it better than anybody, the recruitment into the military, all branches of the military and police and firemen and everything else. anything having to do with like a public service, the numbers were horrible, record-setting bad. And now they're record-setting good. We're setting every record every month for recruitment. We're packed in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. My beautiful I love Space Command. I see Space Command, but Space Force has been, we've got a waiting list of people wanting to go in. A year ago, especially a year and a half ago, when I took the lead in the polls, which was very early, it really helped with the recruiting. And when I won from November 5th on, it's been amazing. And over the last 4 or 5 months, we're just packed. It was very hard to get police officers. Now the departments are loaded up. Everyone wants to be a policeman or woman. So it's been a great thing. General, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. As you said, serving our nation is an incredible gift that we give, and the reward on that gift pays back exponentially year over year. And I think the young people of America are seeing the importance of service, and whether it's in any of our armed services or in local police, fire, or rescue, service is an important thing that I personally encourage, and I know everyone else in government service sees that same reward.
And Peter, on recruitment, what do you think?
I was down at Fort Benning, the newly properly renamed Fort Benning yesterday, watching Army basic training, and they're so full they can't barely handle the throughput. It is truly historic across all the services, as you said. It's been a surge into I was going to say the Defense Department, but I will say the War Department, and that you might almost call it a vibe shift, an attitude shift, a feeling that the country is back, that service is back. And there were military families last year, Mr. President, that said, I don't know if I can recommend, I wrote a book on this. I don't know if I can recommend service to my son or daughter, given what's been done to our military. You heard it over and over and over again. And I hear from those same military families right now, sir, and they're saying, I recommend to my kids that they go into this department, this Pentagon, under this commander-in-chief, who they know you'll have their back, and they want to serve. So it is historic, and it's the biggest reflection of how motivated Americans are by your leadership, sir.
It really is nothing more than spirit, love for the country. I guess the esprit de corps, as they say, you have more of that than we've had maybe ever, frankly. But to see a turn over a period of less than a year, I would say, but to see a turn, nobody wanted to go into the military. Now everybody wants to go into the military. Jennifer, you wanted?
Yeah, there's some new reporting on North Korea and this Navy SEAL incident in 2019. Can you say if the administration was engaged with North Korea on that incident since it happened recently?
Yeah.
And then can you share some references?
I don't know anything about it, no. I could look, but I know nothing about
Can you
it.
confirm that it happened?
I don't know anything about it. I'm hearing it now for the first time.
Okay, great. And then on the Hyundai incident in Georgia with the arrest of some workers, construction workers at the plant, have you heard any feedback from Hyundai?
I just heard about that a little while before the news conference, and I would say that they were illegal aliens, and ICE was just doing its job. But I know nothing about the instance. It happened a little while ago. Okay.
There has been some pushback on that though from South Korea already, and of course, they pledged to invest $150 billion in the U.S. This year, last week. Are you concerned?
Well, and they have the right to sell cars and things in our country. It's not like a one-sided deal.
Are you concerned at all about your immigration agenda potentially clashing with these economic goals?
Well, we want to get along with other countries, and we want to have a great, stable workforce. And we had, as I understand it, a lot of illegal aliens, some not the best of people, but we had a lot of illegal aliens working there. So, look, they're doing their job. That's what they have to do. These are people that came through with Biden. They came through illegally. They came into our country. So we have to do our job.
Mr. President, the non-Department of War has been involved in the crime cleanup.
那当然这个记者提到两个问题。第一个问题里边呢，《纽约时报》他报道的话，在2019年的话 ，Navy SEAL 曾经曾经派出一个小组的话，要潜入北韩北朝鲜的，所以后来的话计划没有成功。川普说我对这个事情还是不了解。当然的话，他今天也提到的话，就是刚才新闻里边也跟大家解读过的，就是乔治亚州移民局进行大规模的扫 查里边的话，在这个现代汽车里边这个工业区里边找到了475名的无证移民，无证客里边呢都是用观光签证或者是偷渡进来的，都是从南韩过来的，也是在南韩的工厂里边电池厂里边做的。当然的话这个川普他说这个现在韩国政府已经觉得了，我现在要砸150亿的资金在里面投资你为什么那么为难我们的公司呢？当然这个川普他的国土安全部部长Christian Norm 还有这移民局的人都是说你投资我们欢迎你，但是的话你们必须要遵守美国的移民法所以这个部分的话，我相信川普这个因为他现在正在他的部长还没有给他一些简报，所以的话他说他也会他欢迎南韩来美国设厂当然的话下面这个工作的话记者问到他里面的话，他是怎么平衡经济发展、吸引外资又移民法这部分，其实的话川普的政策是很明显，他的内阁官员也很明显你来创造的就业机会是给美国合法的民众创造就业机会，而不是这样创造的就业机会都是让非法移民拿走，这个是不是他所要推动的移民改革。
DC, you tasked Congress with proposing and passing a crime bill. What are some things that you would really like to see codified in that crime bill?
Well, I think one of the things is the cashless bail. It's killing it. When that came out, the first time, that's when you saw the real big crime start to happen. Cashless bail, what a disaster that is. You murder somebody, you don't have to put up bail, and you go out in the street and you murder somebody else. That's what's happened. It happens so often. And that's one of the things. And other of the things you're reading about, it's a standard, but just a certain toughness. I have to say, one of the elements of fascination for people over the last period of time has been what's happened to DC. So we've gone from one of the most dangerous cities in our country to what they call a safe city. It's a totally safe city. In fact, I set up dinner in Washington, D.C. next week. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest. I would have had an obligation not to do it before I came into office, or even at the very beginning when things were so corrupt and so dangerous out on the streets. So Washington, D.C. has had virtually no crime. We even have a mayor that's admitting to it, and she's a liberal Democrat, in all fairness. She's a person that hasn't gotten exactly along with Republicans over the years. And she said she's never seen anything like it. So Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city. We have virtually no crime. It's gone from the most unsafe city in the United States, almost, just about, to one of the safest cities, maybe the safest city in the United States. That's a tremendous compliment to our military, what we did. The National Guard's done a fantastic job. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can I ask about Florida real quick? Florida House Speaker Daniel Perez was at the White House yesterday as part of a leadership summit.
Yes.
I understand you met with him separately. Mr. President, what did you talk about? And also, did you explore him running for Florida Attorney General?
I didn't. We didn't talk about that, but he's done a fantastic job. He's respected all over the country, really. He's a leader, and he's done just a fantastic job. We didn't discuss anything having to do with his future. I'm sure he'd be very good at that.
My second question, Alligator Alcatraz, sticking with Florida, a major ruling appeals court blocked the federal judge in order to close it, and it remains open for now. Your reaction?
I think they've done a fantastic job in building it, the governor and everybody else that's been involved. It's an incredible facility. It's housing people for usually a very short period of time before they get brought back to their countries. As you know, we focus on criminals before we focus on anybody else, and we're taking thousands and thousands of criminals out every month out of our country, some of them murderers. And I think Florida's done a great job by building it. And whether it's Alligator Alcatraz or anything else you want to call it, I was there. I visited with the governor, with other people. I guess Nikki was there. Tom Homan's been there a lot. A lot of people have been there it's an amazing facility for what it is. It's not a hotel. It's not supposed to be a hotel, but they've done a great job with it. And I'm very happy with the judge's decision.
You also mentioned Venezuela. I'll ask one more follow-up question on that. On the U.S. strike on the overtime with Venezuelan drug cartel, the Maduro regime is pushing back today. In fact, they say the U.S. seeks regime change through military threat. Your reaction to those words, and also, would you like to see regime change in Venezuela?
Well, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about the fact that you had an election which was a very strange election, to put it mildly. I'm being very nice when I say that. I can only say that billions of dollars of drugs are pouring into our country from Venezuela. The prisons of Venezuela have been opened up to our country. They've taken their prisoners, the worst prisoners, murderers, Tren de Aragua. The worst prisoners that you can ever imagine are now happily living in the United States of America. Now, many of them we've gotten out. It's not easy to get them out because of the liberal system that we're working with in many cases, not in all cases, but millions and millions of dollars and billions of dollars of drugs are pouring out of Venezuela and other countries. Look, China, what they're doing with fentanyl is a terrible thing. It comes through Canada and it comes through Mexico, but a lot of it's coming through Venezuela. Venezuela's been a very bad actor, and we understand that. And when you look at that boat, you see the bags of whatever it is there. Those bags were, you know what those bags represent? Hundreds of thousands of dead people in the United States. That's what they represent. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, your reaction to the jobs report this morning?
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We have our great people here, so I'll talk that in a minute. Let's talk about this. We'll give a couple of because these two people want to get to work on the Department of War. So let's keep them first. Yeah.
Mr. President, the DOJ is reportedly considering a ban on transgender people owning guns after the Minneapolis shooting. Do you think that
Are we talking in the military?
in general?
Okay, I thought you were talking about in the military. I'll refer to that then differently because it's not a military question. I'll be able to pass on that very nicely unless you'd like to talk about it. No, Pete doesn't want any part of that question. Yes, please.
Mr. President, who do you blame for losing India to China? Your post earlier today in the morning, you didn't put that out.
I don't think we have. I've been very disappointed that India would be buying so much oil, as you know, from Russia. And I let them know that. We put a very big tariff on India, 50% tariff, very high tariff. I get along very well with Modi, as you know. He's great. He was here a couple of months ago. In fact, we went to the Rose Garden and the grass was so soaking wet. It was such a terrible place to have a news conference. I said, well, let's use a beautiful white stone emblematic of the White House. Okay. And it's been very well received. But we had a news conference on the grass. That was my last news conference I had on the grass because everybody sunk in. You probably sunk in. Every reporter out there, they ruined their shoes. We made that change. It's been a really well-received change. Yeah, please go ahead.
On Venezuela, you've sent F-35s down to Puerto Rico. You've sent naval vessels into the Caribbean. You're concerned about drugs being illegally sent into the United States. How do you describe this buildup, this situation?
Well, I just think it's strong. We're strong on drugs. We don't want drugs killing our people. I believe we lost 300,000. You know, they always say 95, 100,000. I believe they've been saying that for 20 years. I believe we lost 300,000 people last year. I know families that lost their son. Those families will never be the same. I know a family lost a daughter, a beautiful daughter. In fact, it was like she took something that she thought was like a minor deal, and it turned out to be riddled out with fentanyl, the size of the head of a pin, and you're dead. And no, we're stopping the drugs. We're going to save a lot of people. Look, whether it's 100,000, but it's not. It's 350,000 people died last year from drugs. And we're not going to let that happen to this country. Think of that. Think if you're in a war and you lose 300,000. We'll lose 600,000 in the pretty much between Gettysburg and all of that, the Civil War, we lost, 600,000. So we're losing half of that every year to drugs. We're not going to do it. We're not going to allow it to happen. You think of the wars. If we lost 600,000 people in a war, but we lose that every 2 years, more than that. So it's 300 to 350,000 people. And when I see boats coming in, like loaded up the other day with all sorts of drugs, probably fentanyl mostly, but all sorts of drugs, and we're going to take them out. And if people want to have fun going on the high seas or the low seas, they're going to be in trouble. I will tell you, boat traffic is substantially down in the area that happened. And they called it the runway. It's a runway to the United States. And boat traffic is very substantially down on the runway. You can imagine why. I think anybody that saw that is going to say, I'll take a pass. I don't even know about fishermen. They may say, I'm not getting on the boat.
What happens?
I'm not going to take a chance.
What happens if Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again?
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do, all right?
Sure. Sir,
How close
we
did they
have
get,
one
Mr.
more.
President? You said they didn't go over.
Say it.
How close did they get? You said the planes didn't.
Well, I don't want to talk about that, but if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down. Thank you very much, everybody. So we're going to now cover the G20, and I'm going to let these people go back to the Department of War and figure out how to maintain peace. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations, General. Thank you very much.
当然，川普那边谈到了那个委内瑞拉这部分，他认为当然他说我们不会关系委内瑞拉和推翻的政府。当然的话，他觉得这个选举是非常奇怪的。不过呢说他里边也公布了一个数字的话，他说现在每一年我们美国民众因为芬太尼因为毒品问题，我们每一年损失30万的人口很多因为芬太尼的话已经造成美国很大的一个伤害，所以他说我们美国战争里边的话才60万人上升也和牺牲，而现在每2年就有这个那么多的人数死于毒品他说他也是授权战争部。他说如果是委内瑞拉的来敢威胁到我们美国的空军或者是只要靠近的话，你不需要向我请示，我现在已经授权你们就是可以做决定就是将他们打下来。所以这个部分的话，川普也是这个结束了针对这个战争部的这个这个记者会，接着他还有其他的 G20 这个会议，我们看看的话，他请另外一组人进来。
Sir, just before G20, we do have one more EO for you today. And I should also say that the Department of War EO that you signed was actually your 200th EO since you came back into office on January 20th. That's more than Joe Biden did in his entire term in office, more than Obama did in either of his 2 terms in office. So it's a momentous accomplishment and congratulations.
That's good, but Biden never signed one.
No, yeah, you've done every one up in here.
They've been signed by the auto pen, right? Didn't he? So we really beat him by much more than you think.
This, the 201st executive order, sir, this relates.
他当然的话，这个 Will 这个是川普的助手，他说这是你光签的话，这个改名这个总统行政命令是第200号的行政命令当然的话，就是说比起奥巴马总统这个还有这个拜登总统的话你的签字这个头6-7个月的话，比他们整个任期都多以后当然了，川普就开玩笑的说拜登都没有签总统行政命令，因为的话他都是用自动铅笔机来签的所以当然的话这个川普也在嘲笑拜登他这个他的政府的时候的话根本这个没有亲自来过问国家大事。
To hostages and wrongfully detained Americans. This provides a new legal mechanism to declare foreign countries to be countries that engage in those sorts of practices and gives your administration powerful tools to get American hostages out. This has been a focus of your administration this time around. Adam Bowler's here, and he's done incredible work already. This will give him even more.
I think it's great, and Adam's amazing. So Adam, do you want to describe how many hostages we've gotten out together, you and I, and you and a couple of other people that we know, and me and a couple of other people that you don't know, but we've gotten a lot of hostages. Do you want to describe it?
Mr. President, you brought back 72 hostages since your term. If we compare that to President Biden, he has gotten 20 taken. So he is negative
20 taken.
20 taken.
They don't take our people so often.
So, Mr. President, when we spoke, you said that was a primary focus. And I'll tell you, the job is easy because of you.
And we paid nothing too.
We pay nothing. We
They
don't
pay 6
exchange.
billion. They always paid 6 billion for 5 people, 6 billion. It was just a number I kept hearing. Not only that, 6 billion plus we'd get like 1 person and they'd get 6. They got one, the Prince of Doom, they call him. He was the #1 arms merchant anywhere in the world ever. And they got him out. And on top of that, we paid money. So, no, we don't do that. You know, once you pay money, then a lot of people start disappearing. They start grabbing reporters too. They think the reporter is going to get a lot of money. And to me, they would. You'll be well taken care of. I better stress that because otherwise we have headlines. He said this or he said that. No, I'm not smiling about it. But they would. They'd be grabbing reporters. They'd be grabbing everybody. And especially when you pay the kind of money that Biden and Obama, they used to pay money that was crazy. We don't pay. And if you don't pay, they find it to be not a lucrative business anymore. That's fantastic. Would you like to say something?
Sure. So it's really Spihar, Special Envoy Bola, it's Rick Grinnell, it's Steve Witkoff who brought Americans home. But with this EO you are signing today, you are drawing a line in the sand that U.S. citizens will not be used as bargaining chips. And it provides your Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the same tool set to punish states who take our citizens wrongfully the same way that we can punish those who sponsor terrorists. This is a very significant EO you are signing today, sir.
Thank you, Sebastian. Very good. You're doing a great job, too.
And this is your Director for Hostage Affairs at the NSC.
Yes, and I hear.
So Julia was seminal as well to all of this.
I heard you're doing unbelievable. Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. It's a outstanding EO, absolutely unprecedented action against those foreign adversaries who would take our people. They now know they are on notice and it's not acceptable. And if you take our people now, you will pay.
You know, Adam gave up a job where he was making tremendous amounts of money, big stuff, top of the line, Wall Street. And he wanted to do this. He wanted to do hostages. I offered him other jobs too, very big jobs. He said, I was shocked actually. He didn't want them. He wanted to do hostage negotiation. And pretty amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Do you have any questions for them on this very important subject?
I think it shows a lot of your leadership as far as fighting for Americans and fighting for humans. And to think that, Joe Biden went in negative territory.
Oh, he went way negative.
Way negative, and you're actually making progress on this. I think this does send a message to the world that we don't negotiate, we're going to stay strong in that type of what they call business.
Well,
one little anecdote that may be of interest. We were told by numerous families who had missing loved ones during the Biden administration that this building, Biden's National Security Council, told those families not to talk about their missing loved ones, to be quiet, not to create any pressure on Biden and on Jake Sullivan, the key propagator of the Russia hoax. This administration has met with those families on a weekly basis.
Right.
People like Adam, yourself, sir, your envoys are doing everything to get every single American home, not to tell them not to talk about their loved ones, but bring them home.
Well, I can tell you one story that was amazing. A few weeks ago, very little written about it, but there should have been. But it was a very nice gesture. The head of Belarus, who's a very respected man, strong person, strong leader. He released 16 hostages. John Cole, a lawyer who works for me, great lawyer actually, one of the greatest lawyers. But John Cole was over there and he heard that they had hostages. And you know about this, 16 people he released. And I just want to thank the head of Belarus. But while John was over there, they had, I believe, another 1,400 hostages. Now, not from us, from places all over the world. And just pretty tough place in all fairness, but they had 1,400. And I believe they're going to be releasing a lot of those 1,400. They're not, I think very few, if any. We got pretty much ours back. And we didn't pay anything, but I very much gave my respects to the leader of the country. Was again, he's a very strong man, but he's got 1,400 or 1,500 or a large number, and we're talking about releasing them. Some are political, I guess. A lot of them are political, and looks like they're going to be released at some point in the pretty near future. So it's a great thing. They have to respect your country. If they respect you and they respect your country, they release it. If they don't, then you have to pay $6 billion. I mean, $6 billion. Can you imagine that, paying $6 billion?
Kind of related, but not really. But could you comment on Tina Peters, who's been locked up in behind bars from Colorado within the election? I think we put out a couple days ago about it.
We have a wonderful woman who was an election official, and she saw cheating in Colorado, and she viewed it as horrible, and she said, what's going on here? And she went to the machine and she tried to open to find out whether or not it was cheating. And they went to her and they said, did you touch this machine? Yes. And they arrested her. They arrested her instead of the people that did the cheating. It's a state charge, so it's hard to do anything with, but we're gonna do something. What they did in Colorado, look, Colorado just went to all mail-in voting. That means they cheat. That's why they lost. That's one of the reasons, but that's a big reason why they just lost the whole Space Command situation that is going to Alabama. But when you have mail-in voting, you have nothing but cheating. But this woman is a real patriot, and they put her in jail for a long time. She's 72 years old, 73 years old, and she wanted to find out. She didn't do anything. She touched the machine. She looked at the machine. She's trying to find out what was going on. And they went and arrested her for doing that. And it was supposed to be the other way around. I'm glad you brought that up. They should let her go, let her out.
当然的话，现在川普从一个很重要的一个议题是他现在回答转了另外一个议题当然这个议题的话就是人质就是 hostage， 然后在拜登时代他的助理就显示出来了，拜登的话这个不单止没有将美国的人质这个换回来，反而的话有20多个美国人成为外国政府的人质。而现在川普签署的201号这个总统行政命令，就是授权国务卿Marco Rubio， 有一个是这个任何国家有一个是绑架我们美国公民这个国务卿可以采取一切手段来惩罚外国的政府可以将绑架的政府列为恐怖分子的国家所以这个授权很大。它里边川普特别提到，在任这个还不到1年的时间在他手上呢，这个团队已经帮忙成功的不花任何1分钱就让70名美国公民回到了美国当然的话，他这部分他就觉得他最重要是美国的强大这个当然也有很多敌对国可能这个喜欢绑架美国这个做公民尤其是美国的记者，他说你们是最值钱的，但是他的原则的话，他不跟恐怖分子恐怖集团的谈判，不会给钱，并且的话我们会采取一切的手段来保护这个美国公民的安全，所以这部分呢他这个非常强硬。不过的说他里边有个记者问的话，这 Tina Peters 这个也是一位所以川普的话一下子提到他马上记起来，这个年纪72岁73岁，他是 Colorado 州的选举委员会的一位这个监票人员，他发现在选举的时候2024年选举的时候机器可能有故障有问题，他是要检查没想到的话 Colorado 州这个将他逮捕起诉并且关在监狱里边，他说破坏选举工具当然的话记者问他了，你有没有办法营救这个被在美国本土的人质，川普说他非常关心Tina Peters， 然后他会采取一切措施，他呼吁Colorado 州应该将这位美国的爱国人士 Tina Peters 放出来，因为他在执行他的选务官的工作只是检查机器并没有破坏选举，所以破坏选举的应该是 这个民主党人士并且他也提到他将太空军司令部从 Colorado 州迁到阿拉巴马州，就是因为对 Colorado 州执着的政策对爱国人士的迫害这个事情，他也呼吁这个 Colorado 州要尽快改变，并且他已经说这个 Colorado 州现在将选举全部改成通讯投票，这个就是这个选举舞弊这个做好了准备。针对这个部分的话，司法部已经提告了这个川普也签署了这个总统行政命令，禁止在联邦选举里边使用通讯投票。所以针对这个部分里边，我相信川普也会想办法来营救 Tina
Thank you. Yeah, please.
This isn't really a subject that's talked a lot about, Mr. President, but what about your team's strategy has made them so effective getting a record amount of these hostages, many of whom have been forgotten about home?
I think they respect us. They know we're not going to pay. Adam is a great negotiator. Steve Witkoff is a great negotiator. Seb is a great negotiator. They're all smart people. They're a little bit natural negotiators. Some people aren't good negotiators. Nothing you can do about it.
And they're afraid of you, so.
Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I hope so, or whatever.
We have the best.
I'd like to say respect, but whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I actually say whatever it takes. But we've gotten a lot of people out, and we'll continue. We don't have too many in. How many are you working on right now?
There's not a lot left.
We got most of our people out. We got them mostly back.
Mr. President, do you have an update on the negotiations to release the rest of the hostages in Gaza?
We're in very deep negotiation with Hamas. We said, let them all out right now, let them all out. And much better things will happen for them. But if you don't let them all out, it's going to be a tough situation. It's going to be nasty. That's my opinion. Israel's choice, but that's my opinion. They got to let them out. You got 20 plus you have about 38 dead people, young, beautiful, dead people. And I'll tell you, the parents want them every bit as much, almost more than as if their son or daughter were alive. But you have many dead people that are coming out as part of the deal. It's 20 people, but I think of the 20, there could be some that have recently died, is what I'm hearing. I hope that's wrong. But you have over 30 bodies in this negotiation. Can you believe? I mean, we negotiate for people that are living here. We know that at least 30 people are dead, and we're negotiating to get them out. The parents want them back so badly, as if they were alive. Every bit as much. It's really pretty amazing. It's very sad. I'm in the middle of it. And I put out the other day, I said, we want all 20. We don't want to, I was the one with myself and my people, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner was great on this. But they got a lot of people out. We got almost all of them out. They're down to 20. But Adam, we got like a tremendous number out. But I always said, when you get down to the final 10 or 20, you're not going to get them out unless you're going to do a lot. And doing a lot means capitulation. That's no good either. It's a very tough situation. But I put out the other day, let them all out. Every single one. No more twos and ones. We'll give you one this week, and in 2 months, we'll give you two more. And there's negotiation going on right now. Okay.
And real quick, what is the biggest challenge negotiating with Hamas right now? 10 to 20, what do they want to let them free?
Well, they're asking for some things that are fine. Look, you have to understand, you have to remember October 7th. People forget October 7th. It's not an easy thing to forget, right? But people forget, or they maybe purposely forget October 7th. So, you have to put that into the equation very strongly. It's amazing. Some people even deny it. They deny it. They're crazy. But I've seen tape that's as violent as anything that you can imagine. Many of you have seen those same tapes. So you have to put that into the equation too. So it's not an easy situation. It's a tough one. But there are 20 people, maybe a little less, but there are 20 people that we want out. We want the bodies of these parents. They are, I've never seen anything like it. The level of love that they have. They want their children back. And, I see demonstrations, big demonstrations in Israel about the hostages, not about the war, about the hostages, which puts Israel in a tough position because, it's tough to prosecute a war when you have people they want the 20 people back. They just want them back very badly and everything that goes with it. So it's very sad. Thank you very much. We're going to talk now about the G20. I figured we could wrap 2 or 3 up. The last time I took a day off, everybody said bad things happened to me. You know that, Seb? I took 1 day off. I didn't take it off. I was working. In fact, I was here, but I didn't do a news conference. And they said bad things happened to the president.
That's why they're fake news, Mr. President.
It's fake news. Obama, if you look, Biden, he had a press conference. He missed it for about a year, right? About a year. And I never saw any stories like that about him. He didn't have, and when he had one, they'd ask him, what flavor ice cream do you like? He'd say vanilla. How many times have they asked him that question? What's your favorite ice cream, sir? Vanilla. Okay, that's enough. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have to go through this, but we all have a good time. I only do it for one reason. I think it's good for the country. And we are very transparent. There's never been transparency like we have. There's nothing to hide. So thank you very much on this, Will. Great job. Appreciate it. So we're going to talk about Florida, the great state of Florida now, because it's going to be a very exciting thing to host the G20. And as we celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary next year, the United States will have the honor of hosting exactly that, the G20 summit right here in America for the first time in nearly 20 years. This afternoon, I'm thrilled to announce that the 2026 G20 conference, which will be, I could read off the countries that we're talking about, but you know who they are, I think. Does anybody want me to list them specifically? Jennifer, you're okay? Okay, but will be held in one of our country's greatest cities, beautiful Miami, Florida, where we have the mayor with us, Mayor Suarez. And I want to thank Francis for being here. I thought he might be in this office. He almost got there. It was a couple of us. Right? A couple of us. It's not as easy as they think, right? As it looks. It's not that easy. But he's an amazing guy, very popular in Florida. The agenda for next year's summit is being organized by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is right here. Hi, Scott. I saw him standing over there, nice, tall, good-looking guy, but he moved very quickly. Carolyn, you did a good job. Does Caroline do a good job, would you say? Is she a star? How do you compare with the last administration's person? No? You don't want to get into that. Yeah, I think we're very happy with Caroline. But Scott Bessent is talking about a good job. He's done a fantastic job, and we're very proud of him. He's very much involved with the G20, and the NEC director, Kevin Hassett, is truly a talented guy. And he's certainly being thought of to go to a different position, and we'll find out about that pretty soon. I don't know. Would you like to be that? I won't ask you that. I think who wouldn't want? I think it's the greatest position in the world. You come out, you make a speech, and then you go away for 30 days or 40 days, and you come out, make another speech. The market goes up or down depending on what you want to say. I've never seen an easier position than that. Unfortunately, you need good instincts. So we have somebody in there now that doesn't have them. We call them too late.
那当然的话，川普在里边的话已经透露出来，这个他的经济顾问 Kevin Bessent 有可能会接任这个 Jerome Powell 的职位。他说这个 Kevin 这个他是因为这次要举办 G20 然后请了这个财务长还有他的经济顾问当然的话 Kevin Bessent 的话他有可能会取代这个Colin Powell.
But it will focus on unleashing economic prosperity by eliminating the burdensome regulations, unlocking affordable energy, and pioneering new technologies. And it's going to be very important. The United States is already leading by example, and America is the hottest country anywhere on earth. We have more being built under construction now than they think anybody that they've ever seen. I mean, literally, some of these Some of these places are just really unbelievable what they're building, the size. You know, if you spent $50 million on a shopping center someplace, it's a big building, pretty big building. But when you spend $50 billion on essentially a building has gone up for $50 billion. They're going to be building their own electricity. And many of them have been given permits already to go, and they're starting construction. Some have started construction quite a while ago, and very early in the administration. We let them do that. You know, we have a grid that's obviously an old grid. It's been around for a long time. You could never handle the kind of numbers that you're talking about in terms of electricity, and we're letting them build their own plants. They build their own plants with their structures. So they build their structure, they build their buildings, and they build an electric producing plant with it, like Con Edison in New York that I grew up with, and like others that make electricity, they make it for New York. These plants will make it for their building, for AI. Then you have a lot of the car plants going up. Most of them won't need that kind of electricity, but they have the right to do that also. So we're allowing companies to build electric plants. They become essentially, Scott, I guess they become utilities, right? If you think about it. And it's very exciting. We're going to end up with more electricity than China. And it's going to be built at no cost to us. And I'm telling them, build more than you need and you'll sell it back into the grid. So they'll be able to sell it back into the grid on top of everything else at no cost to the American taxpayer. It's very exciting. And frankly, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be leading with AI. We wouldn't be probably even doing any AI. It would be 20 years to get an approval. So they're building massive amounts of electricity as we speak. We've eliminated $5 trillion worth of federal regulations, another big thing since I took office. And if you remember the first term, we took out more regulation than any other president in history times. You could add the top four, and they wouldn't come anywhere close to what we were. That's one of the reasons we had such the most successful 4 years of any president economically. And this is blowing it away. I think this will blow it away. When these plants start to even getting close to opening, I think you're going to see numbers that we've not seen before. And we've increased oil production by more than 300 barrels a day. That's a lot. Blue-collar wages are rising at the fastest rate in 60 years, and trillions of dollars of investment is pouring into the USA. It's going to be over $17 trillion very shortly, and nobody ever thought a thing like that was possible. What made it possible were, number one, they were happy with November 5th. They were happy with the election. And number two, the tariffs are bringing countries in. I mean, it's so vital to our country. It's before the courts now, and I hope we're going to do very well. We had 4 great opinions just come out, as you know, from judges. In a couple of cases, there were Obama-appointed judges that felt they had to do what was right for the country. So I respect that greatly. I respect them for doing it. But we have very strong opinions, and it'll end up going to the Supreme Court. And it's just vital for the country. Vital, absolutely. We're at a level that we've never thought we'd be at, and it's because of the tariffs. Countries are pouring into our country because of you avoid tariffs if you build here. If you don't build here, you pay a lot of money. But if you build here, so what people are doing is they're coming in, they're building here. No different than what other countries have done to us. But we have a big advantage over other countries. We have a market that we built up during our 4 years. That was amazing. We took a commanding lead during that 4-year period. So it's a very exciting thing, but I look forward to showing our incredible success to the world when we visit Miami next year. And I'd like to ask Mayor Suarez, truly a highly respected gentleman who's loved in his city. And we're gonna do a great job. We're gonna work together and do a fantastic job. Mayor, would you say a few words, please?
Of course. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a tremendous honor to be with you here today in the Oval Office to make this historic announcement, just looking at the sign, which is so beautiful.
Good job.
Yeah, it's a great job. As you know, Mr. President, you were elected by double digits. You were the first Republican president over 30 years to win Miami-Dade County. And you did it because you followed through on your promises. And in Miami, what we're doing is we are following through on those promises as well. We've kept taxes low. We've kept people safe. We've leaned into innovation. We've grown 150% in the last 10 years. We've created one of the most intriguing ecosystems in the world. And this decision is not only generationally important for the city, but it puts the city on the map as one of the truly great global cities. So on behalf of all of the workers of Miami, those that work in the hospitality industry. I know you own many hospitality assets and properties. All of the small business owners who are going to benefit economically from having the G20 in Miami.
Tremendous benefit. It's going to bring in millions and millions of dollars.
We just say thank you. We thank you for believing in us. We thank you for highlighting our city in a time where we have the lowest homeless rate in 11 years. We're on the precipice of having the lowest homicide rate in history, and with the lowest taxes. So we're following your America First agenda, and we're creating success in, Miami's the greatest city in the world, we believe.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll see you down there. We'll see you down there before then, but we'll see you down there. Scott, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, sir. So we're excited to have the G20, and what's important about the G20, President Trump's America First initiative does not mean America alone. It means America leads. So we will be holding the G20 in the capital of the world, Miami, next year to showcase the beginning of President Trump's second term. Will be a year and a half into it. We will have done peace deals, tax deals, trade deals. We've made the U.S. the best place to come start a business, have tax certainty, energy certainty, and regulatory certainty. And it's going to be an exciting event. And the U.S., just as the president was saying earlier about the Defense Department of War, the U.S. is back on the international stage as a leader. We have whittled down the G20 back to basics. We are making it work for the American people better than ever. We have the G20 had become basically the G100 this past year. So it will be a concentrated group in Miami, seeing the best America has to offer with American leadership, thanks to President Trump.
Thank you very much. Great job, and a great job you're doing. Kevin, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Mr. President, I think this G20 meeting where the world leaders will come to the great city of Miami is going to be viewed as one of the most important meetings in global history, because what's going to happen is the golden age is going to be documented so well in the data by next summer that you're going to have one of the best speeches written for you that you've ever seen, because we're just going to be talking about the accomplishments of the next year.
I think so. A lot of these plants are going to be open by then.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of jobs are coming in like I think we've never seen before. It's going to be good. Monica, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. We're so looking forward to having the United States of America host the G20 in Miami in December of next year. And we're also looking forward to having this as a showcase of American strength, vision, innovation, and power under your bold leadership, Mr. President. It is going to be the G20 in the Trumpian golden age.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the G20? G20.
You just said a moment ago that you were very complimentary of Kevin's work, and I was just wondering if he's your fan
Of Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah, I am very complimentary. I think he's fantastic.
And for the Fed, he's your man.
I didn't say that. I said he's fantastic, but no, I sort of know who I'm going to pick, but no, I didn't say anybody in particular, but Kevin is certainly one of the three. They say four, but probably three, that he's a highly respected person. He's great. He's great. He believes in low interest rates, and we all do. But sometimes you have to raise them to stop inflation. We had the worst inflation, I guess, essentially that we've ever had in the Biden administration, and it really hurt people. Costs are way down. Our energy costs are way down. And, when energy comes down, everything comes down. And we brought down the price of groceries and specifically the price of eggs. You remember that first week when you were screaming about eggs? I said, I know nothing about them. I just got here. That's Biden's problem. But we got the cost of eggs down to really low numbers. So we brought costs down for people. And, it's something I said. And the Democrats have this false narrative. They say, oh, costs went up. They just say things that it's just like incredible. If you look at energy, I think you're going to be at $2 a gallon with cars very shortly. $2. It was $4, $5 under the Democrats. It's like a massive tax cut. And speaking of tax cuts, we gave you the largest tax cut in history in the bill that we just approved, the largest tax cut in history. And there'll be no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. One of the big things you get is you buy a car and you borrow money to buy the car, you're allowed to deduct your interest, which, Scott, has never happened before. Rich people like to talk about deductions. Middle income, they never gave them deductions. I got them one of the best deductions, an interest deduction. So it's great. Jennifer, please.
Yeah, a couple questions on the G20, sir. Is there any update on your plans to attend this year's G20? And then are you saying for next
I
year?
won't be going this year. It's in South Africa. I won't be going. JD will be going, great vice president, and he looks forward to it. But no, I won't be going to that.
And then on the guest for 2026, are you saying it'll just be exclusively the 19 countries, the 2 blocks? There won't be any?
No, we're going to invite other countries as observers. They call them observers, but they'll have something to say. But we're going to invite Poland. Already I've issued them an invitation. They're great. They were just here, as you know. Great leader, great new leader. One of the big surprises, I was so happy I endorsed him actually, and he won. And he's going to be a great leader of Poland. But I've invited Poland already.
What about Russia? What about Russia?
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't thought of that. No, I haven't thought of that. That's an interesting question. I'm going to think about that for a little while.
Mr. President, you just mentioned the tax cut bill. Why the rebrand from one big beautiful bill?
Oh, I just save words. I said the bill. It's one big. I actually call it the great. I actually call it the great big beautiful bill. But it's a lot of words.
Is that how you want
You know,
Republicans to kind of talk about it? when they-
I just want them to say what's in it. It's an incredible bill for the middle class, for the working person. You know, we are a party of the working. It used to be the opposite. The Democrats were for the working people, and the Republicans were supposedly for the rich. The Republican Party's taken in millions of people, and the Democrats have lost millions of people. They've gone crazy. Honestly, I think they're crazy. What's happened to them, I don't know. They suffer major Trump derangement syndrome, and it's turned out to be actually a disease, but it's a disease of weak people and stupid people, because all we do is we cut taxes, we create great policy. Their policy is so terrible. They refuse to acknowledge, as an example, I see today, it's a big debate again, the women. They don't want men playing in their sports. They don't want it. The Democrats want men to play in women's sports. I saw the great governor, we have Governor Youngkin, talking about it today, that the woman who's running against our Republican candidate, who's excellent, is like so much into the, men being able to use women's bathrooms. Okay, what's that all about? Men playing in women's sports, wants open borders. Again, once they want, actually, after what we've gone through with millions, I think 25 million people came in from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts. They're pouring into, they poured in. Now we have none coming in. The border's been sealed for a long time, actually, almost since I got into office. Remember when the Democrats said we need legislation? I didn't have any legislation. I said close the borders. And now the borders for the last 4 months, not one person has been allowed to come into this country illegally, not one. Done by people that would normally like to see you look bad. Those are the numbers. So it's been an amazing job. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, this is going to be a major event and a major meeting for South Florida for you, for Mayor Suarez. I know this is not until next year in Miami, but do preparations begin today? And if so, what is being done?
They've already begun. We will first have to deconflict our Basel with the dates, and so we have already started doing that. And so thanks to the president's team.
He started a long time ago, actually. If you knew him, he was working on this long before this press conference.
Yes, sir.
It's in good shape. Going to be great.
Yeah, Mr. President, we learned this morning that we've lost 78,000 manufacturing jobs this year. How do you explain it?
Well, one thing we have is, we have the interest rates are too high. That was, a matter of the Fed. But the other thing is so many different elements aren't included yet. And one of the things we've learned, and we learned that the hard way, watching over the last few months, are the corrections that people have been making. They'll say you're losing jobs, and then they'll say, by the way, we have a correction a month later of, 100,000 jobs are missing. They actually had a correction once of 850,000 jobs. But I'll let Kevin just speak about that a little bit because I heard him speaking about it this morning. I thought he did very well. Please.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I think that if you look at the indicators, there's capital spending boom, industrial production at an all-time high. The Atlanta Fed says GDP now is north of 3%. And so all the indicators are saying that things are really strong. And what we've also seen is that Goldman Sachs put out a study yesterday that said that the August number tends to be really messed up because of seasonal adjustment things, and they tend to be revised way up. And so I think if they were revised up, which has happened on average over the last 15 years by about 60,000, then everything else would make sense. But right now we're puzzled about the BLS numbers and looking forward for new leadership there to make it so that the numbers are more reliable.
And again, we're building, they've started building all of these factories and plants, including car factories. Car factories are coming back. We lost more than 50% of our car production over the years. And I think we're going to get all of it back. It's coming back in really rapidly. Really, we're building a lot of car plants. Indiana, places that you don't think of it so much are taken, but also Detroit, lots of places it's coming in where I think we're going to get everything, we've lost it over a period of 40 years. And I think we're going to get it all back in a very short period of time. And big ones, big plants, incredible plants that were never going to come back. Without the tariffs, they wouldn't have come back. And I think without the election on November 5th, they wouldn't come back either. The election was very important also. Yeah, please.
As we've been here, Mayor Adams of New York has announced that he's staying in the mayoral race there. Can you react to that at all?
No, I mean, he has to do what he wants. No, I mean, he's free to do what he wants. It would seem to me, and everybody in this room, including you, that the only way you're going to beat the communists, because you have a communist running, which is fine. I'll have to deal with a communist in New York City. I never thought that was going to happen. This is something I didn't think was going to happen, Scott. You're going to have to explain this one because we're going to have a communist mayor. It would seem to me that if he stays in, if you have more than one candidate running against him, it can't be one. If you have one candidate, if he's the right candidate, I would say that Cuomo might have a chance of winning if it was a one-on-one. If it's not one-on-one, it's going to be a hard race. And we'll get used to a communist, and he's going to have to go through the White House and get approvals for everything. And we're going to make sure that New York is not hurt. We want to make sure that New York is cherished and taken care of. And so I didn't know he was running or not running.
But you didn't offer him an ambassador?
No, I didn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that. It's nothing wrong with doing it, but I didn't do that.
You asked for the G20, we understand that it'll be held at Doral.
Yes, it's going to be a Doral, yeah.
You considered that with the G7 last time you decided against it. Why go forward with it?
Well, I think that everybody wants it there because it's right next to the airport. It's the best location. It's beautiful, beautiful everything. They actually requested that it be there because location is the best. And we will not make any money on it. We're doing a deal where it's not going to be money. There's no money in it. I just want it to go well. And it's going to be each country will have its own building. I think it'll be really a beautiful thing. And Doral's been very, very successful. One of the most successful properties in the country. And, frankly, it's the problem is in December, that's the biggest month in Florida. So using it for you can't get a room in Florida in December, January, et cetera, that area. And that's the time we're talking about. So from that standpoint, it's not good, but we want to make sure it's good. I think Doral would be the best location. And again, they'll have their own buildings. It'll be incredible for them. And being like 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes from the airport, and it's a big airport, international, all of the planes will be able to land, go right into their quarters. So I think it'll work out very well.
Earlier on your Fed answer, sir, you said that you're looking at maybe three candidates. Or
three candidates.
Should we interpret that you like Secretary Bessent in his current role?
Well, I like him too, but I had him as a fourth. I know I had four. You were talking about four. Now I'm talking about three. He told me I'm not leaving. He wants to be doing, and if he was leaving, he would certainly be one of the people I'd wanted. But I asked him specifically. I could ask him right now, would you rather stay where you are as treasurer, or would you rather go to the...
Sir, I'm the only person on the planet who does not want the job.
Okay. He really told me, he said, I love what I'm doing. I wouldn't want to really take him because he is doing a great job.
Are the top three still in this group?
I am looking at Kevin also, and I'm looking at Yeah, I would say you could say those are the top three. Good job. It's very good.
Just a clarification, you're saying you believe Andrew Cuomo would be the best one-on-one candidate against him?
Well, I think if I'm only going by the polls. It's not an endorsement or anything. It just seems that he's second. And what you do to win is you take the guy who's second and you hopefully add one and two. But it maybe if the one isn't getting out, then he's not getting out, and that's okay. I think the mayor's a very nice person. I helped him. He was got caught up in a scam by the Biden administration, what they did. So I helped him out a little bit, but I would understand why he doesn't do it. I do think this. I think if you have more than one candidate, we've got ourselves a communist mayor in New York. And I don't like communist mayors. I don't like them. Yeah.
You passed one big beautiful bill, sir. 5 months, all these slew of events next week. World Cup, G20, all America 250. Given this, what's your economic outlook for the year 2026? How much growth do you think is reasonable for us to expect economically?
Well, I heard, and we were on a very downward path with Biden, and I heard that the most we could do was 1% GDP, and now I'm hearing 3.2% and 3.5% and all. And our big year won't be really next year. I think it'll be the year after, because when these plants start opening up, it takes a period of time to build them. We're going to have tremendous job growth. It's unprecedented. We have unprecedented in history. There's never been anything like it, because we're going to have more than $17 trillion invested. There's never been anything like that. If we did $1 trillion in 1 year, and this is 6 months, 7 months, because we really focused on it over the last 6 months. But we're going to be doing, nobody's ever seen numbers like this. When this stuff starts opening up, our country's being rebuilt. And by the way, Washington, D.C. is being rebuilt. In addition to the fact that we have a safe city now, and our National Guard was fantastic and worked with the mayor, worked with everybody. We're also doing a refurbishing of Washington. We're going to redo some of the roads, the surfaces. We're going to redo the medians. We're going to take the broken tiles off the tunnels and put brand new tiles up. And we're going to regrass all the parks. They're going to be regrassed by people that build world-class golf courses, and not necessarily people that work for me, because I don't care about that. I just want to, I'm very good at grass. Grass has a life, just like you have a life, right? It has a life. Well, this grass has been up longer than, it's like 4 lives, okay? That's why there's a lot of areas where there's just no grass. But we're going to regrass all of the parks. We're going to, in a year from now, you won't even recognize it. Graffiti's gone, the tents are gone, the medians falling into the roads are gone, the potholes will be gone, the marble's going to be polished and beautiful. It's all going to be beautiful. We're working with Clark Construction, who's, one of the, well, definitely the biggest here, one of the biggest in the country. And they've been great. And we're going to do about a 10-mile radius from the White House, from the Capitol, looking sort of at both of them, go right in the middle of both of them and to start drawing circles. And everything is going to be spit-shined. When the head of Poland came here last week, and when other leaders came here, a lot of them have been here over the last 8 months. I said, what do you think? And they said that we're a little surprised at the look, the filth on the road. Now it's much better. We've got it much better, but we have to do some construction things. I mean, you have medians that are all broken and rotted and rusty and disgusting. And they're all going to be changed. You're going to have a very different look. You're going to have the look of prosperity, not the look of poverty. But the big thing right now, initially, is we have no crime in Washington. We literally have no crime. They said it's down 87%. It's not down 87. It's down like 100%. We have almost no crime. People are going to restaurants that wouldn't have even thought about it. And I know families that have gone 4, 5, 6 times to restaurants over the last few weeks. And you people are in the same category. I mean, yes?
I agree on that.
Thank you. It's a whole different place, right? No, that's very nice. And you're so tough usually. I like her now. Right? No, because she was truthful. Is that a correct statement, Brian?
Yes, sir, it is.
I heard you were actually mugged. You're a big, strong guy. I
can't do anything when he has the guns.
No, you can't. You say, thank you very much, right?
Can I follow up with the beautification of these?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just out front of the White House is a blue tent that originally was put there to be an anti-nuclear tent for nuclear arms. It's kind of morphed into more of a anti-American and sometimes anti-Trump at many times.
Where is this blue tent?
Right in front of the White House on the north lawn on the other side of the Black Gate in Lafayette.
I haven't known
But
this.
all of us in here walk right by it every day. It is an eyesore.
Oh, I didn't know that. Take it down. Take it down today, right now. Nobody told me that. So you're saying there's a blue tent?
It's been there for 30 plus years. It was originally a peace tent, but it's kind of morphed into
Well,
something.
yeah, morphed into radical left. Okay.
Well, what I've heard-
Is it in the ellipse? Where is it?
No, it's in on Lafayette Park. Exactly.
Lafayette Park. Take it down.
Okay.
Okay?
What's interesting about it is that I've had people tell me it's a public health hazard because people sleep in there, they eat, there's rats.
Yeah.
But also it could be a national security risk because people can hide things in there, they can
Okay.
have weapons in there.
We're going to look into it right now. We have removed over 50 tent sites, not 50 tents, hundreds and hundreds, maybe 1,000. I think it's over 1,000.
川普呢发现记者跟他投诉说，在白宫外面呢还有这个 tent。川普一听说是拉斐尔公园，因为这是属于这个白宫管理的一个国家公园，所以的话他马上说将他这个帐篷拆掉。所以川普的话，当然他一声令下，以后他叫了助理马上帮我处理这个事情。我相信呢，看看过2天的话，这个蓝色的帐篷会不会下来了。
But 50 sites. So I'm a little surprised to hear that, but we're going to look into it right now. Lafayette.
On the National Guard,
Yes.
DC Mayor has gotten on board with your plan with DC, but the DC Attorney General has said that he plans to, that he's suing you for
Yeah.
your criminalization of police. What's your
Can you imagine, we have an attorney general who's not related at all to the mayor, by the way. You know, it's a totally separate department. We've got so many separate departments. You have the district attorney has nothing to do with the mayor. The whole thing is crazy. But how about this? We just set a record on low crime in Washington, D.C., and we have a man suing us to let us go back to high crime. We're going to have to be here for a little while to make this really work long term after we're gone. And so we're going to meet that head on, and I suspect we'll be very successful. And I can always declare a national emergency because this was a national emergency. But right now we have the safest city. We have now one of the safe cities in the country. We had almost the worst. I mean, a city that was as bad as some of the horror shows that you've heard about for years. And we're going to fix some of those horror shows too. Okay?
President, the Google ruling today that you posted on Truth Social about the Europeans fining Google.
So Google is a great company. Yeah, Google is a great company, American company. Apple is a great American company, and so many others. And the European Union, I don't know why they do it, but they have been finding them numbers that have been astronomical, more so before I got here. But Apple paid $17 billion a fine in the last year. Apple, $17 billion on a case that a lot of people think they weren't guilty of. And no, I'm going to be speaking to the European Union, but it's not fair. Google just got fined $3.5 billion, and they've already paid $13 billion. They're up to $16.5 billion. And people say there was nothing wrong with what they did. It's almost a source of income to run Europe. It's become a source of income, and many other companies too, mostly tech companies. But we can't let that happen.
What are you seeking from the Europeans and by when?
No, I can just say you can't do that. I mean, you know, they respect us now. They didn't respect us a year ago. European Union respects us. Look, they're paying us $950 billion, right? They got to respect us. They were very disrespectful of our country. I have great respect for Ursula. I've gotten to know her very well. And I just don't think it's fair that they're taxing and really it's almost become like a tax. It's become so regular. And I've gone to lawyers and I've asked them, what do you think? They said, they didn't do anything wrong. We can't do that. It's not fair. And it's interesting. I don't hear that about China, and I don't hear that about other places. I hear it about the European Union. We were talking about it last night. I think we had a gathering. That was the highest IQ group of people I think any room has ever had last night, you know? That was about as high as you can have. All the tech geniuses were there. They love their computers. They would tell me more about chips that I want to know.
Did this come up last night?
Yeah, it did. It did come up. A couple of companies said that they were taxed by the European Union. It's interesting. They weren't complaining about, in that regard, China. They weren't complaining about other places. It's the European Union, and they have. Apple was again forced to pay $17 billion last year. So I think we're going to change that around. It's just not fair. We don't want that to happen to our companies. And if somebody does that, we should be doing it to them. They've got to pay, let them pay us. But you just can't do that to our companies. Yes.
Was Elon Musk invited to the dinner last night? I wanted to go back to the G20 real quick in Miami. You know South Florida very well. Many cities are being.
当然呢，川普要提到的话，就是在今天他的出修手里边发表的文章，对谷歌还有苹果的话被罚高额的这个惩罚，因为他们是垄断的行为。当然这个部分，川普说他会跟欧盟坐下来，以后不能够这样子当美国企业当成这个提款机一样所以这部分我可以看得出，川普他说现在欧盟他们已经尊重美国，并且呢这个欧盟也需要美国的保护，所以这种情况之下，他说他会为了捍卫美国的利益这个会这个会跟欧盟来打交道的，并且他也提到了昨天晚上在白宫举办的宴会里边这些高科技人士的话他们也对这个欧盟对他们的征收这种惩罚不公平，所以他也相信不过的时候记者有一个问的话，昨天晚上马斯克有没有被邀请这个我们看看川普有没有这个回应。
Consider the G20. Was this a hard decision, or did Miami just stand out to you?
It wasn't a hard, really. I mean, look, it's got the weather. We're in December, so it's, cold in some places, and that's beautiful too. Cold weather's nice. It's all nice, depending on the city. But no, Miami really wanted it. The mayor really wanted it. The people down there really wanted it. You might just address that for a second, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, a conference of this kind does two things. Number one is it puts us on the global map with the great global cities. And I think that's something that we've been trying to achieve for a generation. And I think number two, it's a tremendous boom for your economy. I mean, as the president knows, he has multiple hospitality assets. And the working people of Miami, the small business owners are going to benefit tremendously from the economic impact of a conference like this in our city. So it's an image thing, but it's also benefiting working people in our community.
Do you think Xi and Putin will attend the G20?
That's an interesting question. I'd love them to if they want to. I mean, they can't, as observers, they'd be observers. So I'm not sure they want to be an observer.
Sir,
if they want to, we can certainly talk.
Can I ask you another Florida question? The vaccine mandates that were rolled back for school children. What do you think about that?
Well, I think we have to be very careful. Look, you have some vaccines that are so amazing. The polio vaccine, I happen to think, is amazing. A lot of people think that COVID is amazing. There are many people that believe strongly in that. But you have some vaccines that are so incredible. And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very, it's a very tough position. So I'd give you an answer. I'll give you a feeling. But just initially, I heard about it yesterday, and it's a tough stance. Look, you have vaccines that work. They just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it and they endanger other people. And when you don't have controversy at all, I think people should take it. Okay.
One more follow-up on your comments on the taxes. On the upcoming tax bill, are you discussing, do you want that new tax bill to eliminate inflation from calculating capital?
When you say the upcoming tax bill, because when you have an upcoming, we just passed the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. So there's nothing upcoming. There's something that we just passed. So we passed the biggest tax cut in the history of our country for the middle class, for the worker. And that's the only bill that we're really talking about. We did a good job. It's very comprehensive. And I will say the Democrats, if you gave them every point that they wanted, every point that they've dreamt of all their lives, you wouldn't get one Democrat vote. They really are. They've become deranged, sick. It's crazy. If you gave them a list of the top 10 things that the Democrats wanted and you put them in a bill to get passed, you wouldn't get one vote. It's the only thing they have. They stick together, but they're dying. I mean, they're down to 16% approval rating, the lowest rating in history for either party. And we have the highest rating we've ever had. The Republicans have the highest rating we've ever had.
On the National Guard, have you decided in which city that you want to go into next?
Yeah, I have. I have. I'm not going to say it now, but yeah, I have. We're going to go into another place and straighten it out. And I will say this: I watched today. I didn't know that was continuing to go on, but Portland is unbelievable. What's going on in Portland? The destruction of the city. Well, I'm going to look at it now because I didn't know that was still going on. This has been going on for years. So we'll be able to stop that very easily. We'll be able to stop. But that was not on my list, Portland. But when I watched television last night, this has been going on. You wouldn't be standing if you were the mayor. You would be. Can you imagine what they're doing? They're walking in throwing smoke bombs into stores. These are paid terrorists. Okay. These are paid agitators. These are professional. I watched that last night. I'm very good at this stuff. These are paid agitators. They get paid money by radical left groups, not radical right groups, radical left groups. And they get paid a lot of money. And you see it with the signs. They all have perfect signs that are printed. They look as good as that sign. Those signs aren't made in basements. They're made at professional printing offices, and they cost a lot of money. These are paid agitators. And they're very dangerous for our country. And when we go there, if we go to Portland, we're going to wipe them out. They're going to be gone, and they're going to be gone fast. They won't even stand the fight. They will not stay there. They've ruined that city. I have people that used to live in Portland. They've left. Most of them have left. But what they've done to that place is it's like living in hell. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you for your statement before.
AP is reporting that you would be.
那当然的话，川普里面提到在国民兵这部分，我们刚才也提到的话，Baltimore他们现在想办法这个在川普下令这个派国民兵动员国民兵开始清理街道，然后打击犯罪这部分的话，原来是计划芝加哥跟 Baltimore 的不过现在他说他已经知道下面这个城市是谁了，那就是我们的加州这个路易斯安那州，我们的议长的州，路易斯安那州的话 New Orleans 现在这个川普有可能会因为当地的市长已经打电话给川普要求这个来帮忙，联邦政府来帮忙。当然的话，川普今天也提到另外一个城市，就是 Oregon 的Portland 的城市里边的话，在过去也是在第9巡回法院做出裁决的时候这个过去8年游民问题以后，还有 Portland 川普在选举的时候已经多次提到Portland 的话，他们这种攻击联邦政府大楼，然后烧车游行，这种都是职业的煽动者。以后他说他有可能会这个启动联邦的机制到 Portland 里边来打击犯罪。所以这部分这个可以看得出，有可能会在 New Orleans 展开这个联邦的行动很有可能在 Oregon 在美国的西岸的话，也会开始大规模的这个打击犯罪的活动。
Be banning visas to delegations who will be attending the UNGA, the UN General Assembly, including Brazil. Your reaction on that, sir?
That who's banning them?
The Trump.
Well, we are talking about things. We're very upset with Brazil. We tariff them very high because of the fact that they're doing something that's, very unfortunate. I love the people of Brazil. We have a great relationship with the people of Brazil, but the government of Brazil has changed radically. It's gone very left. It's gone very radical left, and it's hurting Brazil very badly. And they're doing very poorly, very, very poorly. So we'll see.
And are you ready to reset relations with India at this point?
I always will. I'll always be friends with Modi. He's great. Prime Minister, he's great. I'll always be friends, but I just don't like what he's doing at this particular moment. But India and the United States have a special relationship. There's nothing to worry about. just have moments on occasion.
How are trade talks going with India and with other countries that you haven't reached a trade deal with?
They're going great. Other countries are doing great. We're doing great with all of them. We're upset with the European Union because of what's happening with not just Google, but with all of our big companies. They just, hit them with these unbelievable fines, $17 billion and $14 billion. And they use that money to run Europe. It's almost become like common. It's almost become a yearly occurrence, like it's a tax. And so it's very unfair. I want to thank you all very much, and we'll see you around. We're going to see you in Florida, but we'll see you a little bit before that, I suspect. Okay?
What are you having for dinner?
Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys.
Well, I'll be having something good here. I'll be at the White House.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
当然了，川普的话也是提到了这个印度的关系印度他说我们印度会跟印度保持好的关系。巴西这部分当然川普对巴西现在的政治走向也是非常不满意他说这个川普还是一个非常这个面面俱到的一个这个谈判高手。虽然的话他对印度对中国对北韩对北朝鲜都是都将他们当成的对手，但是呢他永远的说我跟习近平是好朋友我跟莫迪是好朋友这些的话都是好朋友，都可以谈当然的话他也可以看得出的话他也是说印度会跟美国保留好的关系。当然他记者问，因为他现在美国跟巴西的关系不好，会不会就是巴西来的总统要参加联合国的时候不给他签证？因为纽约这联合国是在纽约这总部在纽约，参加会议的话都要申请美国签证。所以真的这个部分的话，川普说我们谈了很多事情，他并没有正面回答会不会这个刁难联合国里边的话参加联合国的这些外国人士到美国参加联合国活动的这些问题。不过呢说他现在也是可以从这个记者会里边这个知道他有可能会任命 Kevin Bassett 他的经济顾问接任这个Goran Powell 的美联储主席这个位置当然的话这个G20 在明年12月份会在 Miami举办他也是提到这个有20个国家工业国家都会参加。当然他说俄国跟中国他们要来的话可以因为他们感兴趣的话，但是他们只能是作为观察员所以这个部分的话也是表示他立场。G20 也是这个美国的有主导的这个西方国家的一个联盟。好的这个部分谢谢大家今天陪同我们一起看完这个1个多小时的记者会当然的话明天后天礼拜六礼拜天的话这个我们的加州共和党会在 Orange County 的话召开这个年度的会议我们也会一起来讨论这个怎么样打退这个11月4号即将在加州举办的这个50号提案的这个提案，也就是加州选区重划的。所以话我周末的话会参加这个会议我已经预录了2个节目，礼拜六会请教邓律师这个节目会在礼拜六早上播放，还有的话礼拜天我也预录了前车之鉴这个节目希望大家有时间的话也可以在周末的时间跟我一起了解美国的时事新闻然后一起学习美国的法律。谢谢大家的收看，祝大家有一个愉快的周末。